learning English had a huge effect on his life. Hi everyone, it's Scott here from That's English School. Affect と effect ですね。すごくシンプルには見えますか？割と多くの方が間違ってますよね。もしかしたら基本的な意味は、皆さん大体大丈夫な感じにはなってるかもしれませんが、一応念のために、確認してみましょう。会話の中で考える時間があまりないということで、あれなんだっけとなってしまうと、その会話のペースが、落ちてしまいますね。理想的な英会話というのは、日本語と同じぐらいのスピードで、パパッと言うのがかっこいいですよね。で理想的はあくまで理想的ということで、人の、性格と経験には、よりますけどね、もちろん。So putting all that aside, we're going to take a deep dive into the world of affect and effect. Here's the lesson lineup. What's the big difference between affect and effect? Technically speaking, you can use both of them as a noun and a verb. But, and here's the most important part, affect is usually used as a verb, and effect is usually used as a noun. For a split second, even I have to think about which one is which leads me to the conclusion that you probably do too. They are very similar. How do we tell them apart? With similar word pairs, we can do this in two ways. By sound, meaning the pronunciation. By function, meaning how it's used. In this case, affect and effect sound almost the same. Listen again. Affect, effect, affect, effect. Even I have trouble working this one out. So because of that, we have to rely on how each word functions to tell them apart. Here's a little trick for you. It's called raven. R is remember. A is affect is a. V is verb. E, effect is a. And N is for noun. Remember, affect is a verb. Effect is a noun. A raven is a bird like a big crow. You may have heard it in Harry Potter. Ravenclaw. Affect. There are actually 3 different ways to use affect as a verb. But I'm going to be talking about 2 of the most commonly used ones. Here's the first meaning in Japanese. What I want you to remember here is that it's often used in a negative way, but not always. Affect causes a change in someone or something. It can be used actively or passively. Active. A affected B, or passive. B was affected by A. The cold weather affected the crops, or the crops were affected by the cold weather. Either way, what brought about change? The cold weather. Here are some more examples. The global pandemic greatly affected the travel industry. So, as I'm sure everybody knows all too well, we couldn't go anywhere for such a long time, so it affected the travel industry and our lives. Hugs can affect a person's immune system in a positive way. So this is using, of course, in a very happy way. So if you give someone a hug, it's going to affect their body and making them healthier, and they can fight off diseases. That's pretty good, isn't it? Give someone a hug. How much a person is exposed to a language affects their fluency. I'm sure all you language learners out there would completely agree. The more you speak, the more you listen, and the more you actually use your English affects how fluent you become. The second meaning is a little more psychological. In Japanese, you'd say it like this. I agree that this is not the perfect translation. You may be thinking, Is this the same as to be moved by something? No, I wouldn't say so. In most cases, when a person's mental well-being is affected in some way, it's usually not good. It changes you in some way. You might never be the same. If it is for something positive, we would probably add in a good way or in a positive way, just to make it clear. Here are a few sentences to illustrate my point. He was affected really badly by the death of his beloved dog and vowed never to get another one. So he can't even think about getting another dog because psychologically, mentally, he was really badly affected by the passing of his beloved little dog. Her experience in the war greatly affected the way she thought about life. So if she had been through some really tough times, some traumatic times, obviously it's going to change you. So it's going to affect the way you think. The football player tried not to let the racist chants affect his performance, but he finally broke down. So this is a big problem in Europe, where there's still a lot of racism in the world of football and some other sports. But those players who are on the receiving end, they try not to let it affect them. But it must be so tough. You know, this is a fascinating article. What's it about? How our emotions can affect our health. Ah, that's so true. Emotions can really have a big effect on our well-being. Yes, and it says here that stress can really affect our immune system. Absolutely, but you know that laughter can affect our mood and reduce stress. It really makes you think though. What do you mean? Well, you know last week when your father was away at the conference in Okinawa? Yeah, he was away for a whole week. I felt 10 years younger. And I even had lunch with my friend Mayumi. You remember her? The kindergarten teacher. Ah, how can I forget her? Sometimes just being in the same room as your father, it really affects my mental health. It's not that I don't love him anymore or anything. Honey Bun, is that you? We're in here. Honey Bun? Really? Effect. This is a little more straightforward. As I said before, effect is most commonly used as a noun. Effect can be used like this in Japanese. So an effect is the result of a change. If something affects another thing, it will produce an effect. It's not always used negatively, but it tends to be used negatively more often than not. The effect of the earthquake was devastating. So we can use this for any kind of weather phenomenon like a typhoon or perhaps an earthquake or a flood, all those terrible things. The effect can be devastating. Did you have any side effects from your COVID shot? Now, I don't know about you, but I had terrible side effects from my shots. Oh, it was a nightmare. His amazing score in the test had a big effect on his motivation for the rest of the year. So if something good happens, it can have a very positive effect. It's not always negative. Cloudy days can have a terrible effect on some people, making them feel depressed. For me personally, if it's a cloudy day, it actually makes me feel kind of relaxed. How about you? Maybe it's the Britishness in me. One more point, we also use effect a lot as an adjective. Are my videos effective? I'll leave that up to you to decide. Any plans for today, Mum? Oh, not much. I'm just going to clean up the house and do a little bit of reorganizing, I think. Sounds like a lot of work. You know, there is a more effective way of getting things done. You don't say. What's that then? The power of delegation. You assign tasks to other people and it has kind of a domino effect. You get things done in no time. That's a great idea. I'll delegate some chores to your father. Be careful, Mom. Delegating jobs to Dad might have the opposite effect. Things might end up even messier than they are now. You're probably right. I guess I'll just have to roll up my sleeves and get the job done myself. Unless what? Unless you fancy lending me a hand. Sorry, Mum. I'm still feeling the effects of all those beers I had last night at the party. I wouldn't be any use to you. What happened to the power of delegation and the domino effect? I'm going back to bed. Ha! It's homework time. I'm going to give you 2 English sentences and there are 2 mistakes. I want you to find the mistakes and put them down in the comments. Okay? Here are the sentences. The loud noise from the construction site is affecting my ability for concentrate. I wished they would hurry up and get it finished. Can you find the mistakes? Put your answer down in the comments. Good luck. This is the Versus playlist where I compare 2 particular points of English and tell you the differences. Okay? I'll see you over there.